Welcome to Democracy Roundtable. Today we're diving into some critical issues, including the release of a pro-Palestinian activist detained after a campus protest, the escalating tensions in the Gulf, and the renewed debate around presidential power. Nadia is here with me.
Thanks, Amara. It's a heavy lineup today, but essential to unpack. I'm especially interested in the legal challenges to Trump's policies and the growing international unease with his administration.
Let's start with Leqaa Kordia's release. She was the last activist detained from that 2024 campus crackdown, and her being held for a year after multiple court rulings is deeply concerning. Elena, I know you've been following this closely. What's your perspective?
It's a chilling example of how immigration enforcement can be weaponized against political dissent. The article highlights how ICE seemed to ignore court orders, which really underscores the potential for abuse of power. This wasn't just about immigration law. It was about silencing a voice.
That's a great point, Elena. It makes you wonder about the administration's priorities, especially when resources are being stretched thin at the border. Remember that article about the DHS shutdown and the clashes between lawmakers in Texas?
Yes, the one focusing on the clash between Senator Cornyn and Congressman Casar over DHS funding. The shutdown is directly impacting airport security, and it all stems from disagreements over immigration. It's a mess.
Exactly. And these situations aren't isolated. The Supreme Court is set to hear arguments on ending protected status for Haitians and Syrians, which could impact hundreds of thousands of lives. It's all connected, a pattern of tightening immigration policies and suppressing dissent.
Speaking of international affairs, let's shift gears to the Middle East. The attacks on Gulf states are disrupting the region's stability, and Trump is seeking to delay a meeting with China's President Xi due to the conflict with Iran. Maya, what's your take on this?
The situation is incredibly volatile. These drone and missile attacks are shattering the illusion of security in the Gulf, and the potential for a wider conflict is very real. Trump's decision to delay meeting with Xi adds another layer of complexity. It shows how the conflict with Iran is dominating his foreign policy agenda, potentially at the expense of other critical relationships.
And that UK minister's statement, saying they aren't obligated to support every demand from the US, really highlights the growing international strain. It sounds like Trump's transactional approach is alienating allies.
Absolutely. It also seems like Iran is considering moving its World Cup matches to Mexico due to safety concerns. That's a pretty drastic measure, showcasing the severity of the situation. And linking that to the article about Trump not declaring victory over Iran is a bit scary. It implies that despite his claims, the tensions are far from over.
It's a calculated move by Iran to gain leverage. Moving the World Cup matches would further isolate the U.S. and highlight the safety risks in the region. And Amara, you're right, Trump's hesitance to declare victory speaks volumes. It suggests a prolonged conflict with unpredictable consequences.
Let's bring Sarah in here. There's an article highlighting how the Trump administration is facing scrutiny for using Treasury sanctions to target political critics. Sarah, what's your legal perspective on this?
This is a dangerous precedent. Sanctions are meant to be a tool of foreign policy, not a weapon against domestic dissent. The claim that the Trump administration is using them to target critics and even ICC staff raises serious questions about abuse of power and the erosion of democratic norms. This is a clear politicization of what should be an objective legal process.
That connects to the article about Trump questioning the fitness of presidents with learning disabilities. It's more than just insensitive. It's a calculated attack on a potential political rival, reinforcing a disturbing pattern of personal attacks and the erosion of civil discourse.
And it's a distraction, Nadia. This administration is facing legal challenges on multiple fronts. The article about the border prosecution strategy straining the courts is another example. The policy of charging immigrants with trespassing is overwhelming the system and raising serious legal questions.
Exactly. Judges are questioning the legal basis for these charges, but the administration is pushing forward anyway. It's a clear attempt to bypass legal constraints and further militarize the border. It's also worth mentioning that the Border Patrol official who led the controversial Operation Metro Surge, has announced his retirement amid controversy. That whole situation was a mess.
It feels like every day brings a new challenge to our democratic institutions. From immigration enforcement to foreign policy, the Trump administration is pushing the boundaries of presidential power. There is also that article about Title X funding uncertainty for reproductive health clinics, too. It seems that this administration is doing everything it can to make these institutions crumble.
I agree, Amara. It's crucial to stay informed and engaged. We need to hold our elected officials accountable and defend the values of democracy and civil rights. It's essential to remember that grassroots movements, like the one Swing Left is trying to revitalize, can make a real difference. Voter outreach is more important than ever. And seeing Senator Tillis criticize the administration is a surprising yet refreshing sight.
Thanks, Nadia, and thank you to Elena, Maya, and Sarah for your insights. Join us next week for more on Democracy Roundtable. We will continue to cover these important issues facing our nation and the world.